Okay, well, we will get started. So, welcome. Welcome to the Raise Your Energy Challenge. So, this is a 5-day challenge. So, I know most of you guys here. I know all of you guys here. So, I won't go into a big introduction. But my name is Lisa Marie, yoga and meditation teacher and writer. And I also believe that you guys are with me for the meditation challenge as well too. So you can almost think of this as the second part of the meditation challenge. So here we are going to be focusing on breath work and meditation. So breath work in the yogic sense is called pranayama. So you might be thinking, well, what does pranayama mean? So pranayama is a Sanskrit word, and prana means our life force or vital energy. And ayama is to extend or draw out. So really, yogis believe that our breath is really what provides us with our life. And we actually don't think about our breath, even though we do it all the time, but really it is our life force. So when we start to work with the breath, so within our yoga practice or in our meditation practice, or even on our own, we can just do a pranayama practice on our own, we can both balance and enliven our energy. We create conscious awareness. We prepare our mind for meditation. And it also helps to control our physiology, which I'll get into a little bit about, influence our thoughts, and it can just change our experience. So even though we don't often think about our breath, we'll see that we actually have a little bit more control over it than we think. Excuse me for a moment. One more person just came to the waiting room. So we're going to learn a little bit about how we can start to control our breath, and then we're going to go right into a meditation. So as I was telling Laura before, that it's not going to be quite as much talking as it was in the meditation challenge, although I am still probably a little bit more in this class as I explain a little bit more about pranayama. But we're just going to get right into it. And really, we can talk about pranayama and meditation all the time. There's tons of things to talk about, but eventually we just have to practice. We just have to get in and do it. And sometimes that's where the real work begins. That's where it becomes challenging. But to talk a little bit about our breath in pranayama. So really, we can see our breath influence all of the different systems in our body. So respiratory, cardiovascular, neurological, gastrointestinal, muscular, and emotional. So it's really part of all of that. It also influences our sleep, our memory, our energy level, and concentration, which I really find fascinating because, again, we don't think that much about our breath, but when we start to learn how to control it, we start to see it really has a large influence on the quality of our life. And what we'll also learn this week is that by focusing on our breathing and doing different breathing techniques, we can reduce anxiety and depression. We can increase our energy, so that's why this challenge is called Raise Your Energy, because we're starting the morning off right with our pranayama and meditation practice. And I hope you guys are continuing with your meditation practice, and now after this, maybe you add your pranayama into it as well, because I think you'll really start to notice a difference in your day. And also, when we start to become aware of our breath, so like we learned in meditation, it acts as an anchor, we can do that all the time. So it keeps us grounded in the present moment. So if we're getting anxious in traffic or at the grocery line, we can always have that focus. There's these techniques that we don't have to do just on our cushion or on our chair, but we can do anywhere. Well, some of them, not all of them, but a few of the ones we're going to learn we can do anywhere, in the car, in line, to really start to help centering, especially when we're starting to feel anxiety. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about anxiety right now. So you might notice that when you get nervous or you're starting to get stressed out a little bit, your breath becomes shallow and it becomes really quick. So your body is starting to take in a lot, trying to take in a lot of oxygen. This is because of our sympathetic nervous system. So we learned about that a little bit in our meditation challenge. Our sympathetic nervous system is our flight-fight response system. So we were wired, so if we were ever feeling threatened, if there was like a tiger in the other aisle at Market Basket, which I know doesn't really happen, but when we're in deep threats, it prepares our body, our physiology, for us to either fight or leave or maybe play dead. So that's why we start to feel the breath, and you feel the heart rate racing, our breath starts to quicken. We're preparing to fight or flee. And that would work well if we were actually being encountered by a tiger or if we had a real threat. But often you'll notice that we actually start to feel that way if we get into an argument with our partner, if we notice a charge that's on our credit card bill that we now have to call our credit card company and find out why it's there. All of the little daily stressors that add up and really affects our whole physiology. And the problem is, when our sympathetic nervous system is always activated, it causes a lot of problems. So it can weaken our immune system, causes sleep problems, digestive issues, and it can even cause heart attacks. So we want to figure out how to bring that back down. And we can bring that back down by activating the parasympathetic nervous system. So that's really our rest and digest response. So just like when we're anxious and we're getting nervous and stressed or ready to fight, our breath gets shallow and fast. When we start to notice that, we can start to bring our breath down. So consciously drawing out the breath and deepening the breath. So we start to slow it down. So this gives our body a signal to start calming down and activates the parasympathetic nervous system. So that's just one way we can start to use breathing to better manage our stress. So, of course, you have to remember when you're being triggered to go back in, focus on your breath, calm it down, maybe extend it out. But that's what these practices, the pranayama and meditation practices, are really all about. So that's a little bit about pranayama, and I hope you kind of understand the benefits and why we would want to practice. And again, not only does it alleviate stress, but it also clears our mind and gets us ready for meditation, which is why we got to do the meditation as well right after. So traditionally, yogis would generally do our asana practice, and asana is the movement. So that's like the yoga classes that we do at 4 o'clock. Then they would do pranayama, and then they would do meditation. And both the physical practice and the breathing practice were really to get the body and the mind ready to sit and meditate. And I just think that's interesting to keep in mind, that a lot of these practices that we do on their own, they were originally done so we could better meditate, because again, because of meditate, we can get to a higher level of consciousness where we can rise above like desire and aversion and feel more peace. So that's really the end goal in all of these practices that we're doing. But to get started, you can get into a comfortable seat, and maybe it's your meditation seat because that's what we are going to transition into. So I like to sit on my cushion. You can sit on a cushion, but you can also sit on a chair. But you can keep the shoulders stacked over hips, and you can start to close your eyes. So the breathing practice that we're going to focus on today is called Sama Vritti, and it's equal breathing. And this breathing practice is particularly useful in reducing stress and anxiety. But before we get into the technique here, I just want you to close your eyes, maybe place your hand on your belly, and just start to notice your breath. And see if you can just start to bring your focus right to the belly. Maybe you start to deepen your breath a little bit here. And noticing how the belly expands on the inhale. And then just come back down on the exhale. We'll just take a couple of moments here to notice our breath. Now we're going to move into the Sama Vritti breathing technique. So what this is equal breathing, and we also extend it out a little bit. So you can either keep your hand on your belly, if that helps you continue to focus on your breath, or you can just rest your hands in your lap. But together we're going to inhale for a count of 4. So inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause at the top, feeling that feeling of fullness. And then exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause at the bottom, feeling empty. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause, feeling full. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause, feeling empty. Now see if you can continue that at your own pace, at your own count. If 4 seems like too much, you can go down to 2 or 3. 4 doesn't seem like enough, you can go up to 5 or 6. But the goal is to try to keep the inhales and the exhales even, with a pause at the top and the bottom, just to feel that sensation of emptiness or fullness. And we'll continue on with that for about 3 or 4 minutes. Just silently counting in your mind. And if you notice that your mind starts to wander, just go right back, just to the first inhale and counting. 1, 2, 3, 4. Remembering that pause, feeling the sensation of fullness. Exhaling. 1, 2, 3, 4. Finding that pause, feeling the sensation of emptiness, and starting all over. Sama Vritti, equal breathing. Again, finding a count that works for you. It doesn't have to be 4. But you will notice that with the continued pranayama practice, you will increase your lung capacity. And bringing the focus back to your equal breathing. Remembering the pauses, the top and the bottom. And you can start to breathe normally again. You can open your eyes for a moment. Now we're going to go right into our meditation. The meditation that we're going to do is an awareness of breath meditation, just with Dhyana Mudra. So Dhyana Mudra, left hand rests right above your lap. You can place the palm of your right on top. Thumbs connect. So if you remember, a mudra is an energy lock. It helps to sail in a particular energy. This mudra is really a way to cultivate concentration. So this is often the mudra used in meditation. We'll keep our shoulders tall, shoulders stacked over hips, chin can be slightly tucked. You can close your eyes here. So in an awareness of breath meditation, we're just noticing our breath. But unlike with Sama Vritti, we can just breathe normally. And if your mind starts to wander, you can just bring the focus back to the breath. And sometimes it can help to label the breaths inhale on the inhale and exhale on the exhale. And remembering minds are made for thinking. So you're going to have thoughts. The practice is identifying when you're thinking and choosing to redirect the mind to where you want it to focus. And in this case, it's the breath. So we'll get started here. Just bringing the mind's focus right to the breath. You begin to notice that you're caught up in a thought, or maybe thinking all the things you need to get done after we practice. And just non-judgmentally, you bring the focus right back to the breath. Training the mind. And just like we were training a puppy. And seeing if you can just find those spaces in between thoughts. And just bringing the focus to the breath, noticing the inhale and the exhale. And for the last minute or two, you can just start all over and start right from the beginning, just focusing on the breath. So wherever you were in your meditation, whatever you happen to be thinking about, just start all over. When you're ready, you can slowly start to release your mudra. Maybe take your hands and just massage the top of your thighs for a moment as you start to come back. Now when you're ready, you can open your eyes. So thank you. So that was day 1 of your Raise Your Energy Challenge. So we did a pranayama, Sama Vritti, and our awareness of breath meditation. So I hope you see that with the continued pranayama meditation practice, you really do start to bring more of a sense of ease, grounding, and just more energy in your life. Remember, prana is our life force, or our vital energy, so it makes sense that we want to start working with it and kind of know how to cultivate it more, especially when we need to in times of stress or even just in times of dullness when we don't feel as vibrant. So I want to thank you for joining me today. I am going to post this on YouTube, which I'll send out to the link, so in case you guys want to go back to it, you will have that there. And then I will see you tomorrow morning at 8. And if you have any questions, please let me know. So thank you.